Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Advancement Center. Welcome to the world of magic and miracles. Once again, I greet you with a smile from inside and outside. And I remind you of those words from earlier this week. We're all in the midst of a miracle, all unique, but all happening simultaneously. We are simply far more than we could ever imagine. And we are connected completely. So step into that place where you are outside of this physical dimension, where you can feel yourself as far more than what you've accepted about yourself, of what you've been told about yourself. Beyond the limitations of this physical reality. And relax and let the words that I'm about to share find their way into your field and go wherever they are needed to go. Some will drift past you. Some will catch your attention and take you somewhere. It doesn't matter. Just go to that place where you're beyond all limitations. A standard of beauty. What is coming is being delivered in packages of energy that move all that is false, manipulative, and controlling into oblivion, replacing it with freedom, truth, and transparency as the scales of justice are once again balanced for all humanity. The cry of the human entity has reached the Creator, and the response has been swift and powerful. The collective breath of the human entity has cried out and said, "No more." And the energy that is now arriving on the planet is filled with a power and a force to bring each one of us back home, back to that version of us that is full of love, without conditions, that lives in harmony with all that is, and that once again lives in a world without competition, comparisons, and hierarchy. I am constantly receiving this energy, and it has led me to say many of the things that I have been saying, dismantling many of the structures and pillars of the old world, that world of control and manipulation through the programs that have kept us from remembering who we are. And today I'm led to speak about another program, a standard of beauty. This standard of beauty has trapped humanity in a cycle of self-loathing, self-judgment, and self-blame. This country, the United States, has led the way in perpetrating this standard, taking the reins from their cousin, Great Britain. This human-created standard of beauty has produced an industry of beauty that is projected to surpass $650 billion per year by the end of 2025. That number highlights the gigantic influence that the standard of beauty has on the human entity. But enough is enough, and it is time for it to end. It is time for the dismantling of the standard of beauty. Generation after generation has passed on these standards, and with them, the impossibility to meet or maintain them. This is another program that has been delivered so deeply into the human psyche that even people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, far beyond the age at which one cares to impress another with their appearance, are still terrified to be seen as unattractive according to the created standard of beauty. This is because we have been punished when we didn't meet the standard of beauty and rewarded when we did, loved and liked, complimented, made to feel special, and fawned over when appearing to meet it, and unloved, disliked, insulted, and ostracized when judged as not meeting it. This allowed us to be controlled and manipulated and pitted against each other through the program of a standard of beauty, a false standard of perfection that made us judge, compare, and compete with one another instead of loving one another, which is our true nature. But mostly this made us compete, compare, and judge ourselves, and sent us on that lifetime journey of being accepted based on how we look. Delivered and received by the human species thousands of years ago, refined and revised to meet the times of the day, until this day when it is a $650 billion industry of control and manipulation, passed down by your parents from their parents and their parents before them, and so on and so on, and more than likely passed down to your children from you. Maybe unconsciously, maybe consciously, or maybe through the media or through another child, as its presence in the world of physical matter is most times the most pressing thought within your day. How do I look? What needs changing? What don't I like about my appearance? How is my outfit? Why didn't I get that hair or those eyes or that body? These are the thoughts of billions of people every day. But these thoughts have never existed in the world of our Creator, in the world of spirit, in the world where you are one with the source of it all. And yet here in this physical world of matter on a planet that we call Earth, it is many times the most pervasive thought throughout our day. This program of a standard of beauty affects both men and women, but the women have been the direct target of its insidious design. A design to create control and manipulation of the human entity by creating a competition between sisters and a hunger and a craving for approval and validation through meeting that standard of beauty. I have always felt bad for women as they must make up their face. Think about that concept for a minute. It's as if your regular face isn't good enough, or you are an actress preparing for a role. Then they must try to maintain a figure, a hairstyle, their fingernails and toenails, all in response to a standard of beauty. Each day they wake up, they must consider this standard of beauty. They must select the most appropriate outfit, the most appropriate shoes, even the most appropriate underwear. While I, as a man, just roll out of bed, brush my teeth, wash my face, comb my hair, and sometimes I don't even do that. And then I put on the most comfortable clothing I can find, having no concern with meeting a standard or impressing anyone with my appearance, causing most females to very seriously utter those familiar words, "Are you going to wear that?" So you see, the man was affected in a different way by this standard of beauty. He could not take it on in its fullness as the female, but he could be a party to the power that it had over the female by consciously or unconsciously demanding that the female meet those standards in order to choose her as his partner. So in a sense, he became an accessory to the crime, a co-conspirator in the advancement of a standard of beauty. Either consciously or unconsciously, He became the judge and jury by his reaction of what the standard of beauty would look like. And because of that position, he became the ultimate reward of the female by his acceptance of said standard of beauty. And instead of being repulsed by the image of the standard of beauty and saying no to the attempt of any female to meet it, he glorified it and objectified it, making it and her a product for consumption to achieve a standard of beauty, so that every female would then try to present herself as a winner in the competition to achieve a standard of beauty. But since no such standard actually exists, there's no way to meet it. So we all have been trapped in this cycle of 1,000 years of a standard of beauty. The ramifications of this program upon humanity are endless. It has affected how we relate to each other in every phase of life. It is deeply rooted in the fabric of life of a human being and continues to be passed down onto the next generation. Know that the male has fallen under a different standard, a standard of wealth or money, and the female is the accessory and co-conspirator to that crime. But that is a story for another day. But the new ones that have arrived on the planet are not having that standard of beauty because they can feel the thread of the program within the communication from those that would pass it on to them. They know that who they are has nothing to do with how they look. And although they may be influenced in a moment, they quickly strip off that influence as the sovereignty of who they are always reigns supreme in their life. They are the ones who will usher in the return of a life as a being in this physical world of matter without a standard of beauty. In fact, there will be no standards in this new place, but if there are any measurements, they will be related to kindness, to love without conditions, and to seeing the other as yourself. So today I set the female free with so much love, understanding, compassion, and grace. And I closed the human eyes of the masculine that took on the role of a co-conspirator in the delivery of a program of a standard of beauty. And I opened the eyes of the divine masculine to once again take his rightful place at the right hand of the free, powerful, loving, and compassionate divine feminine. You are now free, my beloved beings. You no longer need to make yourself up. You no longer need to chase a standard of beauty that was never real. Who you are and who you have always been has nothing to do with your outer appearance. And now you are free. This will not be easy for you, for the program is always policed by the masses. So when you choose to let go of the standard of beauty, your sisters will say, "What are you doing? You have stopped caring about your appearance." And you will say, "No, it's just that you care too much. I'm no longer a slave to the illusionary standard of beauty, and I hope you will join me here." Know that we, the divine masculine, now release you from our objectification of you, and we ask you to release us from you needing to make yourself appear physically beautiful for us. Now we can be reunited as equals without any of the standards and labels and stereotypes that have kept us apart. It matters not if only one person hears these words, for they have gone into the field and will anchor into the future reality of the new world that I bring. Each one is doing this in his or her own unique and perfect way, and we are all connected and tied together in a way that may not be seen, but that is always perfect. Cheers to us all. Your true beauty has now been restored from within, as the program of a standard of beauty is no more. Her eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair falls perfectly without her trying. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. Yeah, I know. When I compliment her, she won't believe me. And it's so sad to think that she don't see what I see. But every time she asks me, do I look okay? I say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change because you are beautiful just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause you're amazing just the way you are. Because you're amazing from the inside, just the way you are. This is called A Thread of Gold. Wouldn't it be nice if you could see all the things and people that you were affecting while in this human incarnation? All the events like the weather and the earthquakes and the volcanoes, the connection to the creation of businesses and the influence on relationships and people getting together, all the magic that we experience every day, giving you a picture of that like a game board or a grid of all that you affect. Just imagine a thread of gold running through your being to every other being. Think of the tree root system throughout the world, or something smaller like a spider's web. Your every thought affects the whole system, and the system itself is magnificent. It is conscious and dynamic, constantly balancing, harmonizing, and healing itself as the input comes in from all branches at the speed of light. A thread of gold, the greatest and most powerful conductor of electricity and energy running through the system and running through you. Everything is connected. There is nothing in isolation. Just like your body, you move your pinky and your whole body responds. You have a thought about your breath and your toes are impacted. Know that you are a branch in the tree of life. Feel yourself pulsating from the vibration of that mighty tree. We are one, but at the same time separate, each overlapping with the branch right next to us, which is overlapping with the branch right next to it, thus making us all connected and overlapping no matter the distance. The other day, as I was walking to my car to go to lunch, I passed a man who was walking into the club. The sky was beautiful and there was a light breeze of cool air floating by. I did not know him, but we said hello with a gentle, warm smile for each other. And I felt like we weren't on Earth, but on another planet in another time where there was only light. And I remembered that feeling. And I knew that it was here again. The tree of life, a thread of gold, the dissolution of all that is not love. It was a most beautiful feeling, for I knew I was in heaven on earth. Be gentle and be kind, for that is how you will assist others in seeing that heaven on earth that is here now. Pay attention to that thread of gold that is running through you and to you, connecting every action and event that is played out in this physical material world. There is never anything to fear, for all has been known, seen, and perfectly orchestrated by the source of it all and you. We are always in the midst of a miracle. For every moment, every thought, and every breath has been known, felt, and brought into balance for the grander purpose of the whole. The tree of life, conscious, breathing, vibrating, and harmonizing all within, having a power, precision, and a loving awareness for every branch. It is a picture of our Creator, and it is a picture of our body, which was made in the image of the Creator, a power, a force, an all-consuming presence of which we are a fragment of its existence, a beautiful reflection, a ray of light going out in a billion directions from the sun, a unique fragrance, a representation of the Creator, a branch of the tree of life. Be at peace and worry not, for where you are standing now is heaven on earth. And once again, feel the golden thread running out to everything and everyone as you reunite with all life everywhere. And feel the smile of your Creator, that loving, knowing smile of a parent that says, I love you. I always have. Well done, my beloved child. Well done. You are now with me in heaven. Would you like to go and have a catch? I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Now I leave you with that same smile and a wink and the picture of the thread of gold coming out of you in every direction, connecting to everything, and the tree of life, and heaven on earth, where you always experience a perfect life with perfect health and a magic future. Cheers, everyone. I am David.